Good afternoon everyone, I'm Ian from Iain Henderson Designs, and I've got a company based in jewellery where I design and make bespoke jewellery for everyone. I have a studio rather than a shop, and it's sort of set up behind my house. So Chris, you want to go a quick pan of the studio to show everyone what we've got? So it's set up a little bit differently. There's only a couple look at a time, and we've got it all set up so we've got a hand sanitizer on the table. You come in and you sit with us and ask you to clean your hands on hand sanitizer. We've also got a UV light steriliser which will then actually clean all the rings. Any rings we get out, leave them on the table, and I'll clean them after, and I'll wipe down all the surfaces as well. So it's working well for us. We've been open for about a month now, back into it all. So I've been really busy, which is really nice. And what I tend to do is work on appointments with clients. So two people will come, sit with us like this. I'll be stood at the side of the table having a chat with you, and I'll be showing you the rings and things like that. I've got a few rings today that I thought I'd just chat through some different ideas on 2 or 3 different styles of engagement rings and what wedding bands that I would sort of recommend that would sit with them, so you can get an idea of what how I sort of go about things. So I'm going to start with a classic solitaire diamond. Again, we can have different sizes. Just one of our camera as an example. So without being a classic look, you can go to sort of 3 different styles with it really. One of them you could go, or 3 or 4, is just a plain band. Classic band, but it doesn't really do the diamond much justice. We've got some nice what I call little subtle diamonds which we can have flush setting that can sit into there, and then say it just enhances that diamond, brings it a little bit to life rather than just the plain. So that's one idea you can do with that. Another one you could do would be to have like a channel set ring. So the diamonds are set into a channel. Now that works, but it's not really one of my favourites. I think because the diamonds are in a quite rigid form and the engagement is quite open. I prefer to have a little bit slightly different setting on that to show clients, but it's one thing that someone might want to do. And the other one would be to have like a claw set one, so probably more of a class as an eternity style, but nowadays I think wedding and eternity can all mix into one, so again that's another idea you could put with that. I just want to sort of chat through and just show you some ideas. So if I go back to that initial one I showed you. Now for me that's just possibly a little bit too thin. That's a 1.8mm wide ring with a 1.2mm diamonds. Now another ring I can show you that's nearly 3mm. Now to me that's almost getting too wide. My eyes getting a little bit drawn down to where the actual wedding band is and not keeping the focus on the engagement ring. For myself, I was going to keep the engagement ring the focal point, and then the wedding band should complement that. So it's too small it gets lost, too big it overpowers. It's find that middle balance. Now for me, the middle one would be more like this one, which is a 2mm. So perhaps you can see that. For me, that's quite a nice balance. Again, on that one, it's plain, but I would probably put this has got a flat section, which would be wrong. But you can have your diamond set into there, and we have about 10 set into that, so you get a good span. So if the ring moves, I call it a bit of wiggle room, and it allows the diamond still to show. Like you can see, this has got a flat section across the top, and the engagement ring is rounded. So the little details we take into account. I wouldn't do it with a flat one because it wants to match it. What we're trying to make it mirror what your engagement is doing. So we're going back to the 2mm for a nice gentle curve to match, and I would be looking at doing that. And if you want to set some diamonds in there, we would as well. Now I do ask a lot of clients that come in, because I have had clients come and say, chatting about the engagement ring and say, yeah, when we got the engagement, we didn't really think about the wedding band or potentially even an eternity ring. So I always ask clients when they come in, look at your engagement ring, let's look at the design of your wedding ring, and then also, have you thought about eternity ring? Is it something you want to do? Not everyone wants to do it, but some people do, and it's good to look at this point, so then you are getting an overall look. For argument's sake, you might want to put something with it, so you might have that look with an eternity ring, or you might have it the other way around, fingers and thumbs, where it's sitting like that. And again, if you have the diamonds onto there, it can help link back through rather than just having it plain. So different ideas, but again, you can ask, that might be a little bit too thick, but you can ask, I like to ask the clients, sort of forward thinking, so as a designer, I want to make sure that we're covering the angles, that you're not forgetting and missing out things that potentially in the future you might go, oh, I wish we'd looked at that at the point of time, and that's what I like to do with clients. So that gives you a bit of an idea on the solitaire ring. And I'm going to go into one that's, this This is more of a halo design, so we've got halo around the centre diamonds and then diamonds on the shoulders. So it's got quite opposite, complete opposite to the actual solitaire. Lots of details going on there. And again, if you went back to put a plainer band with that, doesn't really work. A lot of brides would be come in and say, "Oh, what do you like for a wedding band? I want it plain because I don't want to detract from my engagement," which I completely get. But actually, when the brides start trying on the plainer bands and they go, "Oh, yeah, it doesn't really do it any justice. It's not what I had in my head," and I totally get that. So this is where sometimes you've got diamonds on the shoulders, you almost want to lend yourself to having it into the actual wedding band. And again, the eternity ring will then flow across that as well. So if I come back to this, and this is all about the balance, I'm going to start with a really thin one. And again, that looks a nice balance on there. The only thing I'd say on this one, our engagement ring is quite high on that one there, and the wedding band is quite a bit thinner. You can see that, Chris. So what I would look at doing is making that a bit thicker for you, so it would actually sit a little bit higher up, so it sits a little bit more level, so it's a better fit. But these little details, what I always run through with clients. Everything you see in our studio is all false. I didn't want to have real things here that you have to kind of pick off a shelf and buy, like sort of the high street does. I want to set it up a little differently, so everything here, let's say, is false. And what I want to do is actually make you your own ring, so it gets made to your finger size. There's no joins. And that way you get your own ring made for you, which for me is a bit more personal touch. That's what we're about, it's the personal touch. So that way you get your own ring and then no one else has tried it on, which for me is a plus. So again, that one's got the thinner diamond. For me it's looking a little bit lost, so I was going to jump it up to the next one. So they've got like 1.2mm diamonds, these have got 1.4mm. I think you see that's a lot better fit for me, it's balance wise. It's going to bring the two designs together then. So again, that's a nicer look. And I'm going to just step it up so you went a little bit bigger. So you go on 1.4, then these are 2mm. Now if you look at that, you can probably say, wow, well the 2mm just overpowers. So for me, the wedding band is then like interfering, it's taking away the shine away from the engagement ring, it's overpowering it, and my eyes getting confused where I'm looking, so I'm looking more down here than I am on the engagement ring. So for me, that is too much. Now if it's working the high street, I might be on my commission, being a bit cheeky, I might go, oh, doesn't that look nice? It sits really well, but they're going to make more commission because it costs more. I'm not like that. I'm design trained, not sales trained. So for me, I couldn't do that. It just goes against my grain. For me, it'll be more about doing that one. I think it's a better balance. Now that one is probably around about, in platinum, around about the £850, £900 mark. That one is more like £1,500. So you can see the difference in pricing. But obviously for me, I'd rather the client went for the smaller one because I think personally it sits better. And for overall design wise it is, like I say, I'm not about sales, I'm about designing and working with the clients. So that gives you an idea on that one. And then I've got another one which is like a trilogy one, which is like a three stone ring. And this is what I call the classic high street version, where this actual size of the actual settings are coming down, right down to the base. So if you're putting a wedding band with this, you get quite a big gap going on, which for me, clients don't always want that. And you've got a wear point on those three centre diamonds there. The ring's going to wear going around there. So what we came up with was an idea of tucking the actual setting under, so the wedding band will sit flush. Now, if you went back to that initial one you picked up there, it works, but you can see it gets lost. So again, it's all about scale again now. So if you're looking at that, for me, that's getting too lost. If you went a little bit even bigger on something like this, the plainer band, yeah, you can start to see it more, but again, you're seeing a lot of reflective metal. Some people might like that. Yeah, I think that can work, but for me, it's a little bit on slightly duller side. Personally, I would look at something that's putting the diamonds on an offset channel. So if you can see from the top there, you're pushing the diamonds across, and you can see them from the top. You can start to see the diamonds coming out, so you get the detail of the diamonds and not getting tucked underneath the stones. Now that's a channel setting there, which again is okay, but for me, the top section here is really open, claw set, so that and that don't really go together. It's all right, but it's not what I would recommend. I would be personally looking at something more along like that. So that's claw set on the sides. You can see the wedding band's got the same detail. So when you look at it as an overall design, they are going together a lot better. And it's all about balance. Now they're quite bigger stones, so they sit quite nice with that one. If you wanted to do that version and it was smaller, then we can do a smaller version. So again, it's all about starting with the engagement ring. That's our main focal point, and it's how we sit the wedding band with that. Now, it may be a case if you want to do a turn-to, you can do the same on the other side, and you have a nice sandwich engagement together, and that creates a nice overall look. You've got no wear points, it'll just sit nicely and just move underneath there really nicely. So for me, that's a good way of showing you how we work, sitting with clients, and it's all about, for us, it's about design and asking the clients what they want, really. And a lot of people say they don't know what they want, so they'll sit with us and I'll say, well, have you thought this? I'll throw all the ideas that I can think I can put with the ring, and it's more about then chatting with the client and then narrowing down those designs until they're kind of happy with one final design. Like I say, it is all starting with the engagement ring for the clients, and it's working around what we can do for them. Now, sometimes if it is really shaped and it's an unusual shape, then we would then shape the ring to that, and that would be done like on a 3D CAD design, or we'd hand shape it as well, so different ones on that one. But that just gives you a bit of an idea on that, how we actually fit those together.
Got a question.
Okay, Chris, fire away, Christian.
Yeah, we've got Shelley Reid is asking how much a consultation would cost.
We don't charge anything for consultation. We allow about an hour and a half to chat to clients. So you come in and we don't charge for that. You can sit with me, you can pick my brains, and then, like I say, it's more about just having a chat with clients and see what they want. Like I say, if they want to get involved and personalise, then we want to come and see. If you want something that's off the high street and you want to pick up a shelf, then we're probably not for you. But yeah, we don't charge. Come have a chat with us for free. Have a coffee. Again, what we do as well, if you get rings from us, we found a really nice company that would do our boxes for us. So these are all handmade in New Zealand. So you can have a double ring box or two singles. You can pick which either one you want, and also you can have it engraved as well if you want to have that done as well. Now, I took about 5 years to find these guys that actually represent what we do. So all made in New Zealand, handmade, all from sustainable wood. And for me, nice sound on that as well. For me, this is more about what we're about. So I didn't like all the China-based things, cardboard, plastics. For me, it's about finding something that's sustainable and it's handmade, which is what we're about on that side of things. Just quickly on that, Chris, if you can pan into there, we've got lots of stuff for the guys and the gents. Lots of gents rings, wedding rings. You do find if you go to High Street, you'll find you might get 10, 20 rings maximum for the guys to look at, which I think is really limiting. And there's not an awful lot of choice. So I always start with the guys with a question: is like, what are you about? What's your hobbies? What's your lifestyles? Because if you, like a lot of my friends in the building trade, so getting them a platinum wedding ring would be the wrong advice. Okay, it'd make me more money, which, I'm not about that. You'd be better off with titanium, very lightweight but very, very strong. So it'll stand up to a lot more abuse. Now the platinum is a lot more heavier. It's going to cost you a lot more, but it won't sit up to that environment. So I always ask the guys what you're about, what you're doing. Let me tell them, just have a chat with me, let's see what we're about. And that way I can then sort of say, well, you've got these options open. Some guys like the fact that it's very lightweight, so they go for the same anyway, regardless of what the job is, so that doesn't really matter. But if you have got a really hands-on job, then that's where you want to have a chat. We'll look at some different options on there. Like I say, we are been open a month. We get a lot of inquiries coming through. You can email us, you can phone us, or on Facebook, Instagram. If you want to come along and have a chat, you're more than welcome. Sit down with me, I'll go through everything and we can give you a quote, take that away. I mean, one thing I mentioned at the moment is platinum. The market's dropped because it's been shut for ages, so it's starting to pick back up. It's a good time to invest in platinum. So I'm getting clients that are buying wedding rings now for next year, and we have a free service we'll all store in our safe. So it's a free service, you can store them in our safe.
I've got a question from Kim. Do you do men's rings that are suitable for electricians?
Yeah, that was saying, Kim, the hands-on will be, you'll be looking at titanium, and they start from about 350, 325, depending on what style you want. So that's be a very lightweight, but very strong. So that's a good one for that environment. You don't want platinum, you don't want palladium. It's way too expensive, and it's not strong enough. Won't stand up to the job. So I say, if anyone wants to come and have a chat, you're more than welcome. And I'll say thanks to the Fayres Yorkshire, Alan and Grant for setting us up. It's been a real help to show people around my studio. Not everyone gets to see this wedding fairs normally, and we can just stand in there talking at a table. It's quite nice. You can sort of see where you're coming to and what you can do. So much time we've got left now, Chris? Are we?
There's no more time. Well, you're still on. You're still live.
All right. Well, so thank you very much, everyone. Have a good Sunday, and hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.
You're still live.